Welcome everybody. I'll get started here. We may have a few more people joining on, but I want to introduce myself. I'm George Miller, one of the coaches at Right Foundation, Year of More Leader, Lab Leader, and I am so excited to be with you tonight because this topic is like the heart of what we do and so important to me. So welcome to Lead with Emotional Intelligence, the secret to success and satisfaction. So, on behalf of the Right Foundation for the Realization of Human Potential and its division, the Right Graduate University, its board, staff, students, and faculty, we're grateful to have you join us. And a big thank you in particular to our board and our donors, because it's their contributions that are allowing us to provide this training for no charge. So we are a 501c nonprofit. Right Foundation, what we do is we design and deliver innovative curriculum that's coaching, training, consulting to ignite possibilities for thousands of people nationally, internationally. And we do this through creating connection, nurturing vision, and driving contribution. Well, those are some lofty terms, but we're going to get into those more. You're going to see how this leading with emotional intelligence, our topic for tonight, how by you learning more about this, how you're going to be learning to create more connection, nurturing more vision, driving more contribution. So welcome again. Welcome if you're just joining in. Good to have you here tonight. I'm excited to explore with you how we can lead with emotional intelligence. But first, I want to cover how to get the most out of this. So let's take a look here. The best way to get the most out of this webinar for yourself, and the first thing we want to do is we want to set a couple ground rules. So first is participate fully and create value for yourself. So engage. We want you to engage. What that means, we're going to be doing polls. We got a bunch of polls for you to check, like where you're at. What are the things that you care about? Another way to engage is to type into the chat. As you're typing into the chat, if there's something on a poll that you don't see that matters to you, type it in there. So there's a way of engaging with the webinar, with the content tonight. So we want you to do that. Number two, be curious and open-minded. So this is a really big one. Be thinking about things where you notice yourself saying, oh, that's not true, or wanting to critique it. Just notice that and see if you can shift into, okay, well, what if it were true? How would I apply it? How would I just test that out? So have a beginner's mind. And some of this stuff, you might have read personal growth books. You might see stuff on Instagram online about, how to empower yourself, some of the social emotional intelligence stuff. That's great. But now we're taking it to the next level. So be open-minded. How could you take what you've learned about emotional intelligence even further and use this webinar to help you advance? And then we want you to create value. So create value for yourself to get the most out of this. We talked about that. You're engaging in the chat. You're checking off on the polls that we're going to be submitting. And there's another thing too, is to be with the content. We're going to be getting into feelings, and you'll learn some more about not so much the why we've sort of relegated feelings to something that we shouldn't feel or whatever. We're not going to really explore that, but we're just going to be with the fact that there's a lot of ways that society, etc., has had us disengage from our own feelings. So as we're getting into this, another way to create value for yourself is to be curious about yourself, be curious about your feelings. And I invite you to do that tonight as we are going into emotional intelligence and learning how to use that as leadership. So, but before we go any further, I want to find out about you. So be thinking about, why are you here? Why did you come here tonight? And let's get a poll up, because I want to check in with all of you. What do you want more of? So as we get this poll up, click on anything that is why you're here tonight. Maybe you didn't think about it beforehand, but now's an opportunity. You're thinking about why you're here, and you may have to scroll down on the poll because there's several options that may be off the screen for you. So go ahead and click on those. Do you want to be a better leader? To be open to new experiences, new adventures, to have more career success overall, to have better decision making, better relationships, to have more happiness and fulfillment, to have more self-awareness. Go ahead and click on those. You can click on more than one. Click all that apply to you, the ones that kind of land on your heart, the ones that you're wanting in your life. Oh, Alicia left the screen. I don't know if there's a way we can get that back, Alicia, but if you can see, type into the chat what you want. Lisa, if you're not able to see the poll either, go ahead and type into the chat what you want more of: to be a better leader, open to new experiences. Oh, Mag, okay, we'll see if we can get the slide up again. Is that something we can do? If not, then type into the chat what you want while you're here. To have more career success, better decision making, better relationships, more security, more happiness and fulfillment. To have more self-awareness. So what are you seeing? To be a better leader? Yeah, Caitlin. Here in leadership at work, okay. Yeah, if the slide doesn't work for you, please just type into the chat. That's great. More self-awareness, Lisa. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Well, so be sitting with that and with what other people, with all of those things, and be opening your heart to that, because that's what we're getting into tonight. So thank you. Okay, it looks like top one is more self-awareness. Oh, cool. Okay. And second is to be a better leader. And third, to have more fulfillment. Well, as you're going to learn more about, actually having more self-awareness will help you be a better leader. Emotional intelligence, learning how to go in with ourselves and be aware of ourselves, helps us communicate to others. If we don't have that template of who we are, then we often miss other people. Oh, right on, Alicia. Cool. Oh, thank you for sharing. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Add to it. This is a lifelong journey. So thanks, everybody. We're going to get more into polls as we go along, but let's keep moving here. So we at Wright Foundation, we've been studying this stuff for over 40 years. We are very proud of our emotional intelligence curriculum. We've got coaches, therapists, lawyers who use our trainings for CEUs to help advance their practices, help deepen their own awareness. And back before pandemic, we had people come into our More Life training from around the world to help deepen their understanding, help deepen their practices. So our emotional intelligence curriculum is really great. We're going to share a little bit of that with you tonight. So our focus is really pragmatic. We can have theoretical ideas about emotional intelligence. We can read books about it, but we want to look at how we apply that moment by moment, day by day in your personal life, in your career. And it's my delight to share some of that with you. So we're going to be engaging in the research tonight. Again, back to those operating agreements with the polls, with typing things into the chat. That's a way for you to engage in the material. Now, we're also talking about leadership and its connection to emotional intelligence. So what are the benefits of becoming an emotionally intelligent leader? What are the costs of it? What's the science and research behind it? Most importantly, how do we develop it? What are some exercises with it? So I'm going to leave you all with an exercise tonight. We're going to close with something for you to take into your evening, into the rest of your week, and into the rest of your life. So this matters a great deal to me. As I look back on some of the businesses I was in earlier, I had successes, and there was ways that I held myself back and I didn't realize it because I was told to leave my emotions at the door. I had no idea that by doing that, it was actually detrimental to my leadership. One way I was thinking of this, I used to co-own and run a moving company. And so I would often be the one booking jobs and sending out moving crews. And as I was thinking about this, getting prepared for tonight, I was like, I used to not pay attention to some of these core feelings I would have while I was on the phone with a potential customer. And I would just try to get it done and just try to send somebody out there. And I would miss that, this might not be a great customer and maybe I shouldn't send my crew there. But I wasn't paying attention to my feelings. And I was told, no, just get it done, just take it to the next step. So there's all kinds of ways, if you start thinking about it, that we're told not to pay attention to our feelings. Now, I was thinking about it too. Another way that I did do well with feelings was I could tell by somebody on the phone which crew to send to them. I was like, oh, okay, she sounds like somebody who's going to get along better with this person. But even back then, I didn't recognize that that was a gift. So it wasn't really something I developed more of. And so this is a big deal as we're getting into this, is to look at the ways that we're trained to not be in touch with our emotions so that we can enhance our relationship with our feelings, and even double down on some of our gifts and learn to develop those more. So I want you to have context with emotional intelligence and start thinking about this at work, in your family, with your friends. Be thinking about the messages you get around how you shouldn't have emotions or how they get in the way. And then start thinking about how can my emotions actually give me super valuable data. So this is, again, why I'm so pleased that so many people wanted to have more self-awareness, because as we do that, it's going to give us better data about how to respond. So I want you to be thinking about these soft skills of social and emotional intelligence, because they're not just essential, they're also learnable. And that was something that was really encouraging to me as I looked at my life. I was like, wait a minute, this has to do with me personally. This impacts every area of my life. And it's something that I can learn at any point in my life. How cool is that? So again, I've got a limited time with you tonight. So I want to share as much as I can, dive in as deep as I can, all the stuff that we've been researching over the past 40 years of how people are living flourishing lives. Towards the end, I am going to let you know how you can take a next step, how you can get more on this subject. I'm going to offer a gift for you. Teeing that up, but I want to get into another assessment here and help gauge understanding your topic of tonight. So I want you to select all of the statements that you believe are true. And don't overthink it. Just go with kind of what your gut says. This is all true or false. So just you're clicking true or false. So which of the following statements do you believe are true? Strong leader manages their feelings. Go ahead and vote. Start voting in. A strong leader manages their feelings. True or false? Anger gets in the way of effective leadership. True or false? I can influence the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others. True or false? Good leaders aren't afraid to take risks. True or false? Avoiding certain emotions can be an effective strategy. True or false? Leaders need to avoid the negative emotions while leveraging the good ones. True or false? If you haven't voted true or false on those, go through, check it out. Leaders need to avoid the negative emotions while leveraging the good ones. Avoiding certain emotions can be an effective strategy. Good leaders aren't afraid to take risks. I can influence the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others. True or false? Anger gets in the way of effective leadership. True or false? And a strong leader manages their feelings. True or false? All right. I want to see. Can we get the trues and the falses shown here? Because the deal is, thank you. Okay, so we got a lot of votes in here. I can't tell how many how many were true and how many were false, but you know what you put in there. So the deal is that we're gonna explore this more as we go further into the content, as we get further into the research here. So I want to give a quick overview, and I want you to be thinking about these questions, true or false, and then be applying these questions that you just went through to the next phase of content here. So quick overview is, what is leadership? We're going to be busting the myths of leadership. If you answered true to any of those in there, this is going to be important for you. So we look at who leads and when am I leading? So some of the myths of leadership. Then we're also going to be looking at emotional intelligence as a leader. And the 5 primary emotions: fear in leadership and anger in leadership. We could go into all of the 5, but we're not going to have time. So we're just going to do fear and anger with leadership and the relationship there. And then we're going to look at the journey of the emotionally intelligent leader. And that's where we'll continue a way for you to offer this and have you setting a vision for yourself. And what's possible for you as an emotionally intelligent leader. Okay, so let's get into myth number 1. Myth number 1 about leaders. This is a myth of leadership. So leadership, and if you answer true to any of these, a strong leader manages their feelings, anger gets in the way of effective leadership. Pay attention here. So leadership is actually the ability to influence the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others. So the myth is that leaders are designated or born, but actually leaders influence the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others. So who has the ability to influence thoughts, feelings, and actions of another? I do. Oh my goodness. Who else does? Caitlin does. So does Ashley. So does everybody on this webinar. That's right. So anybody influences. Yes, Isabel. Yes, Nita. Beverly, yes. So that means that's a huge shift in how we think of leaders, that there's not one single leader, that everybody has the ability to influence the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others. One way I think of this is like, if I'm in a meeting and there's somebody in that meeting who's like sitting there and I think that they probably don't like some of what's being talked about, or they disagree or something, but they're not saying anything. They're just sitting there kind of with their arms crossed. Historically, my idea is that that person is not a leader because they're not sharing, they're not giving any direction, they're not doing anything. So yeah, that person's not a leader. But no, they actually are a leader. They are leading towards disengagement. They're leading towards the actions that they're doing. So this really changes things, because I can't just say to myself, oh, now I'm being a leader, now I'm not. All it is what am I leading towards? What am I leading towards? So if you're here tonight on this training about emotional intelligence, you're leading towards becoming a more emotionally intelligent leader simply by engaging in doing this. This will affect the people that you're interacting with that way. So thing I wanted to talk about in leadership and one of the myths about that. So we're all leading all the time. And next myth that I want to dig into is that strong leaders manage or control their feelings. So we have this idea that we can manage our feelings, and there is that anger gets in the way of effective leadership, or a strong leader manages their feelings. Not true. It is not true. As we're going to find out more, when we are suppressing our feelings, it actually decreases our ability to be effective with other people. And so it's not about trying to suppress our feelings. our emotions actually inform and guide us all the time. So it's a big mistaken belief that we're supposed to put these in a box or something, or like get to our feelings later. Doesn't work. It really suppresses our ability to lead positively and lead in the ways that we want to. Strong leaders learn to unlock the superpower of their feelings. So again, I'm choosing to unlock the superpower of my feelings. And I want to take a look at the 5 primary feelings. So we have fear, hurt, anger, sadness, and joy. And when we're looking at the primary feeling of fear, that can alert me to things. As a leader, it helps me be more aware. Hurt, if somebody's feelings in the room, let's say we're in a meeting and somebody wasn't acknowledged, like to be able to pick up on that. If I'm not in touch with my own hurt, I'm not going to be able to see that somebody else's feelings might be hurt. That's very valuable data as a leader. Anger, need to drive things, need to get things done. If somebody isn't being honest about something, I should feel angry about it. That's a very important emotion as a leader. Sadness. This one I think about challenges during pandemic. If we're going into a meeting and we had sales goals and we didn't hit them because everything changed. If I don't acknowledge my sadness as a leader, and I'm just like, okay, we're going to figure this out, or I try to put on a smile on it, everybody in that room, everybody on the team doesn't feel validated for the fact that they're probably really sad. And there's a gift in sadness of just acknowledging sometimes the loss of things. And it's, can help bring us together around something as opposed to just trying to put a smile over it. And then joy, the importance of celebrating. If somebody does something well, they want to be celebrated. And it helps bind those new neural pathways. It helps encourage more behavior that way. So joy is incredibly important as a leader. So, I'll share a quick story about this one, especially around the fear. Somebody I'm coaching, she reached out initially because she does a lot of presentations. Her boss knows she's good at it. She prepares, puts in the time she needs to. But she reached out because she was like, look, I hate doing presentations. And I will work with you. The one thing, if I could just get one thing from coaching, if I could stop dreading these presentations, it would all be worth it. I was like, okay, great. So as we got into it, what we realized was that she felt very afraid. She felt afraid she'd go into the C-suite, and she had learned her relationship with her fear was such that she indicted herself for it. It was like, oh, I'm feeling afraid, so there's something wrong with me. I have to fix something. I have to perform harder, to perform more. And as she started catching this way that she handled her fear, she started to say, wait a minute, I can actually use this. And so in a meeting, she goes in, she sees her VP's furrowed brow. And instead of saying, oh, shoot, something's wrong with me, I need to make him feel better, she just says, sir, do you have any concerns? And he goes right and he starts talking about what his concerns are. Somebody else starts speaking up, and pretty soon all she's doing is facilitating a meeting around the product and seeing if it's a good fit or not. And she took off after that because she went from having to perform on top of her fear to actually using it to make connections with the people in the room. So I thought I'd share that story with you to underline how valuable this can be. Isabel. Yes, Ashley. Yes. Thank you for your question, Isabel. Mainly negative emotions. Why is there more positive? Okay. Great question, Isabel. Take note of that. Notice how our immediate response to the 5 primary feelings is that 4 of them are negative. Because what if they're not negative? What if fear, hurt, anger, and sadness are simply feelings and can be very useful, but we've been trained to think they're negative? Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. Yes, more lower level than upbeat, though I recognize all gave value. Zandra, I think it's something to explore tonight as we go further into this, because anger can totally be an upbeat emotion. I mean, I experience it that way, and fear as well. But we have these mistaken beliefs from our culture about our emotions, that there's something wrong with them. So I love that you're asking this. Keep grappling with that. That's great. This is good stuff. Good stuff. So another myth is that leaders need to avoid negative emotions and leverage the good ones. But there's no negative emotions. They're emotions. You totally brought us right into the next section. Thank you. Thank you, Isabel. Yes. And so the extent that we can feel one of them is the extent that we can feel all of them. And what I mean by this is, do you remember music? I just, on my iPhone, I don't see bars of music up anymore, but like on stereo systems, I think everybody can probably remember this. So on stereo systems, you've got like the bass, you've got the treble. And if you turn the music on, they're all going somewhat. Sometimes the treble's higher, sometimes the bass is higher, especially in classical music, there's more variance. Okay, so that's our feelings. If we're alive, if we're walking around, if we're on this webinar thinking about this stuff and feeling this stuff, we are alive and we are feeling all 5 of the primary feelings. And sometimes it's lower level, fear doesn't mean I'm like absolutely terrified, but as I'm talking to you, I'm on this webinar and I feel afraid about like, okay, how am I doing presenting? Is this getting across to people? Am I clear? There's, that kind of fear is just there, that anxiety. And then hurt, again, there's that as well. Sometimes I feel really hurt, sometimes just a little bit. So it's all kind of going on. It's all just data that helps me connect to myself and connect to other people. So what we mean when the extent that you can feel one of the emotions, that you can feel all of them and vice versa. So that means if in my family or my culture, if I think that there's something wrong with feeling angry, I'm like, okay, don't feel angry. That means I'm also going to be turning down the dial on all of my feelings, including joy. So sometimes I think about, wow, the more that I'm able to feel fear, hurt, anger, sadness, joy, that actually helps increase the amount of joy I can feel. And I was thinking about sharing this story, and maybe now's a good time to do it. It's like, yes, Alicia, it is, because if I'm only feeling anger, then I'm not in touch with the other ones. If I'm trying to push that one down, then I don't get to experience the other ones as much. It's like our feelings are like a bouquet, the bouquet of life, like the richness of experience. And that it made me think of and something really sweet was when one of my sweetest memories was one of my grandmothers when she was passing. I mean, it was incredibly painful. I mean, it's some of the saddest time in my life, memories that I have. And you see in family members, there was fights and so I felt angry, I felt afraid, all of this. But it's also one of my favorite memories because I got to see my grandmother and family members come through and shine and emerge in ways that I hadn't known them before. And it felt so good to have that. And without the fear, the hurt, and the anger, I wouldn't have experienced as much joy as I did during that time. So I'm incredibly grateful. So I just wanted to share that with you as maybe an example of how, because it's absolutely sad. And I want to honor that. I want to feel sad. I don't want to, at the end of my life, just say like, oh yeah, some bad things happen sometimes, but I didn't feel much about that. And I was like, no, man, some painful things happened, and I'm glad that I was there for it, that I was a part of that. So I hope that helps give a good feeling example of what we're talking about here. Now let's get into the next myth. So good leaders aren't afraid to take risks, right? Because good leaders are so strong and confident. Good leaders are always confident, right? No, it's not true. Good leaders are afraid. Good leaders stay in touch with their fear, like a guard dog. The fear can sometimes just be a warning, can help people be alert to things that are coming. But no, good leaders are afraid. Anything about like Abraham Lincoln, I guarantee you he was freaking scared. But it's a good leader's ability to be in touch with what they're feeling and use it effectively. So good leaders choose not to let their fear get in the way of movement. And they say, I'm afraid, but I'm choosing to act anyway. So the takeaway here is that we want to learn to use our fear effectively, have it as a guard dog at the gate, but not a gate itself. We don't want our fear to be blocking out things from us. We want our fear to be able to alert us to things. All right, myth number 5. Oh, yes, totally, Isabel. We do call them oh shit moments for a reason. Yes, good point. I love that. So anger gets in the way of effective leadership. Myth number 5. No, anger is a natural part of life. We got to be tapping our anger all the time. I think about like driving through the city or just driving in general. Like in the city, I'm not going to drive 100 miles an hour. And so I think anger is like, that's just full out rage. Sometimes full out rage makes sense. If your kid is about ready to be hit by a car, your fear and anger come in and bam, like you're gonna be like, oh no, don't do that. But in a city or in lots of environments, we don't want our fear operating at that level, but I want it somewhat. It helps me drive. It helps me get things done. And so I'm spending a lot of time and focus on harnessing my anger and using it better moment to moment rather than like saying, I don't have anger, I don't have anger, I don't have anger, and then exploding. So I'm getting better at driving anger at 25 miles an hour in the city. So we want to leverage it responsibly. And look at that. I love this. Like I used to not like this word at all. I'm learning to like it more and more because it's the ability to respond. So we want to leverage our anger. Anger is the ability to respond to things. It's a very important skill. Responsible ability to respond. And our job as leaders is to be aware of our emotions and to integrate them into an ever increasing ability to respond to things. So again, it's a super valuable data for us is to be able to feel all of them, including anger, and use it in such a way that we can be more effective with others. Yeah, yeah. Dude, Alicia, I love that. Yes, it's like a double-edged sword. It can be used to build or destroy. Totally. And so we want to be more in touch with our fear and our anger so that we can use it in the ways that we want to. Oh, I love that, Zandra. Yes. If I choose to have a good purpose with myself and my feelings, then I'm able to control how I use those emotions better. Again, simply suppressing them, saying anger is bad, it doesn't work. I will inevitably explode at some point, or we'll get into some of the things we do when we're suppressing our emotions later. So I love teeing this up. Emotions are one of our most powerful tools. There's immense benefits in for ourselves, enhancing our power to help us lead ourselves, others. It's a wondrous thing our feelings are. To have a really feeling life, like what I was saying, with memories, as holidays are coming up, I want to have feelings at those. I don't want it to just be checking the box. Feelings allow us to experience life fully. They allow us to take in the sunset, take in the feel of the water, take in the feeling of things. How does this feel our lives? And has us be able to, look at what can be, to have the ability to think about like there's that kind of calling thing that comes from emotions. I look at this image of clouds. If I didn't have access to my feelings, I wouldn't like have the ability to want and to be like, oh, like there's this stuff I want to go for. So it has our feelings have us be more authentic, more able to be true to who we can become. And our feelings, they guide us, they serve us to live, love, lead. It has us really connect with people. Think about that. I couldn't, anybody who's ever fallen in love, there's hurt in there. It's like, oh, I'm so in love. And for some reason, I feel so hurt too. I don't know what's up with that. But like, it's really this wonderful thing that has us able to connect. So we want to live a life that we yearn for. And our feelings are the thing that help us do that. We want to live this life that we have while we're here and to live this rich, flourishing life. And our feelings are so important for this. As I was sharing about my grandmother, there's studies on this about how when people are interviewed towards the end of their life, one common theme is that they'll say something like, I wish people had really known how I felt. Just think about that, And so we're learning the skills tonight about how to do that now, how to be living the life now. More and more of people really knowing who we are. So there's all kinds of benefits. When we're more in touch with our feelings, we're better at teaming. We're just better being on teams. I so know this. I'm way less in shape than I was in my 20s and teen years, but I'm a much better basketball player on a team than I ever was before because I'm aware of myself. I'm aware of other people. It's a team sport. So we find that the most effective teams are the emotionally intelligent ones. Oh, it's so cool. If you ever get into Phil Jackson books, you can see how this plays out with the Bulls back in the 90s. And benefits of emotions is it has us be better leaders. We are better leaders when we're in touch with our feelings. Top leadership positions find that 80% of the difference is emotional competence. These soft skills are incredibly important for leadership. We're more productive. This one trips me out. The fact that we're more productive when we're in touch with our feelings, because the beliefs about feelings are, no, it takes time or it's going to get in the way of productiveness. But actually, productiveness, we are much more productive when we're in touch with our feelings. And there's a little thing we're going to get into this to prove this point later. So better decision making. We're going to get deeper into this too, especially when we're making decisions. Emotions are actually what fuel the process for us to even be able to make the decision. But again, catch how we think, no, emotions don't really inform that. They just kind of get in the way of decision makings. I need to be more clear. I need to be more logical. That's something that we're going to look at in a little bit. Another thing that emotions are good for is our health. Emotions improve our health. Oh my goodness. So rates of chronic illness go down, disease risk, high blood pressure, heart attacks, diabetes, stroke. All of these things decrease the more in touch we are with our emotions. And it kind of makes sense because it's like, oh, if I'm like this living being person and I have feelings as part of being alive, and then I'm like, oh no, suppress that down. That might cause some blocks. That might do some stuff that could lead to some of those things. It makes sense. So there's all kinds of science and research benefits of social and emotional intelligence. Has us be more present with ourselves, with others, more real, more connected. And so, yet we've got mixed reviews about emotions. We're told they're bad. We're told to suppress them, to hide them, to numb them, yet we can't stop having them. Even if I try, I'm still try not to. I still do, yet we're told to put them away. And these electrical currents running through our bodies, these chemicals that we all have, and we haven't really been trained what to do with them and how to use them. So oftentimes we end up doing things like drinking them away. That's a way to numb out feelings. Sometimes we take pills to numb out feelings, turn to drugs. That's a way to numb that. And there's studies on this one. So if the receptors in our bodies and our brains around emotion, feelings, and physical pain are the same. So if I'm going through like a breakup and I'm just totally heartbroken, I could take some Excedrin or some Tylenol, some Advil. That would actually numb my emotions, and I wouldn't feel as heartbroken. So, that's a way that people can numb out. Another one is this is one I'm with the most these days, is eating. Eating is a way to numb our feelings. She's got a donut. My food drug of choice is Cheetos for some reason. I totally have caught myself before walking to the corner store if I'm upset about something and just like, wait, what am I doing with these Cheetos? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm suppressing my feelings. So there's ways that we suppress our feelings and we indulge in soft addictions. There's nothing like wrong with this other than it is tamping down our feelings and not having us be as effective as we could be. So we do things like play video games. We do things like be on our phone as a way to suppress our feelings. This is totally true. Like sometimes if I'm like angry with my wife because she didn't pay attention to me at a certain point, like I'll pick up my phone and be like it's kind of passive aggressive. It'll be like, yeah, see, I don't care. I'm busy anyway. Or, I'm doing it because I want to go on Instagram and see if anybody likes me. So it's a way that I'm kind of can be numbing my feelings. Another way is over shopping. Something painful happens and it's like, oh, I'm just going to go get something. I've totally done this. And Amazon makes it really easy to like something upsetting happens. And it's like, well, I know what's going to make me feel good. Buy this. So there's ways that we numb out our feelings. And it kind of fits into society to do this. We don't know what to do with them. We think they're bad. We feel embarrassed when we cry. How many times, think about this. I guarantee like everybody on this webinar has, if you've expressed a feeling about something, you felt sad and you probably said sorry. It's like something really tragic just happened and you are having sadness and hurt about that. And you're like, I'm so sorry. I just had this happen. It's like, oh my gosh, that we apologize for our feelings. That I feel so sad about that because there are these wonderful things that help us be human. Yeah. Oh, how correct is the statement? Our external actions are the actions of our internal emotional behaviors, Zandra. I think, yes. I mean, a huge, I see that. Zandra, I think you maybe should do a paper on that, do an article on it. I think that's something interesting to check out there. So anyway, the point is that there's ways that we manage our feelings. There's ways that we suppress them because we haven't learned how to deal with them. And there's discomfort of not living our dreams. And that's another thing. When we were looking at the guy with the clouds, we have these yearnings to become who we can become. And so sometimes it's just easier to eat a bag of Cheetos. I found that with chocolate. I was like, why am I eating chocolate like this? And I realized it was like, oh, I actually underneath that is a yearning for adventure. I have this hunger, this hurt for adventure. And whatever they did with marketing, it sure freaking worked because I'll go get some chocolate because I yearn for adventure. So anyway, nothing. And again, there's nothing wrong with chocolate. There's nothing wrong with buying things. But when I'm doing them in a way to avoid my feelings, it's kind of a thing. It does not help me realize my dreams. So when we're not valuing and honoring our feelings, we're not unlocking the superpower that they are. We're limiting our potential. We're limiting our effectiveness. We are suppressing our life force. So I just shared about Cheetos and chocolate. I want to know, what are some of the ways that you avoid your feelings? What are some of your favorite ways to avoid feelings? Let's get up a poll here and please, rescue me and commiserate with me with some of the ways that you numb your feelings? Do you just shut down and avoid? That's one of mine. Oh, Beverly, napping. Yes, totally. Yeah, Isabel, exercise is totally one, right? Bury myself in work and responsibilities. Totally one of my favorites to do because at least I'm getting something done, right? Take care of others rather than being with my own feelings. Oh my goodness. Yes. I'm a coach and come from like a missionary Christian background. So totally relate to that one. Turn to mood altering substances. I totally caffeine, medications, absolutely. Overeating, over shopping, procrastination, that's a really big one, just avoiding it. And think about how like it just so doesn't work. Like when I procrastinate about something I'm afraid of, I'm still afraid. So it's not very effective, right? Okay. Oh, cool. We're getting a lot of these here. So number one is to take care of others rather than being with my own feelings. My goodness. Whoa, I am with a bunch of rescuers, bunch of professional rescuers. Totally. And it's so cool to see how that works, that it's like it kind of meets a need a little bit to take care of somebody else because at least I'm happy that they're happy, but it does not meet my needs. It does not necessarily have me express my emotions. Sarah Mo, yep, the woman aspect, right? Yeah, it's like you're like designed for it, trained for that. Yeah, totally. Number two we had was indulging in soft addictions. Yeah, over shopping, procrastinating, etc., as a way to numb feelings. So really beautiful. Thank you for sharing with me, not your soft addictions and the ways, but I think I'm just feeling relieved that I'm not the only one. So we want to look at what it could be if we develop our social emotional intelligence, if we learn to really feel more deeply, we learn to use the power of our emotions and the kind of interior life we can have, these flourishing, fulfilled lives where we develop our personal power, we develop our ability to influence, where we develop this key to creativity, to intimacy, to spirituality, to wisdom, to rational thinking, to exalted states, to have profound influence, to have more fulfillment and meaning, to be real here and now, able to respond appropriately and powerfully in the moment. It's our internal GPS. It's what our feelings are. GPS of what really frickin' matters to us, what's important. So I'm thinking about this word emotion, and it means like I'm so moved. I'm so moved. And the Latin word for this is emovere, and that means to set into motion. So it's like my emotions are this thing that I'm alive, I'm fluid, I'm moving. They help me do things, help set me in motion. Without emotions, I'm a noun, I'm a stone, I'm there's nothing going on. And so on the next slide with what Dan Siegel says about emotions is that emotion equals a verb. So we're verbs, we're alive human beings. We have emotions. They help us engage. They're helping us be a part of life and help us anticipate our needs, help us prepare to act. They're the arbiters of our pain, of our pleasure. Emotions are no mistake. They don't lead us off track. They're designed to keep us on track. They bring us this richness of our lives. And yet we live in this world that values logic and stoicism over intuition and feelings. And we live in this world that values the factual or the digital. We have this idea that Spock's the ideal. And think about that. But neuroscience is proving that Spock may have been like one of the least able people on there, that there's no way. We have this idea, he's part of boldly going where no man has gone before. But that's not the case. He would have been like the least mentally healthy, the least functional crew member because of his Vulcan way of being. The Vulcans, they, didn't have emotions. They were just logic. But we find in neuroscience that actually means Spock wouldn't have made it to Starfleet. He wouldn't have even made it to the bridge. It's our emotions that actually help us be more logical and make decisions. Without them, we're not doing anything. This is a study by Antonio Damasio I want to share with you. So with studying people with brain tumors on the emotional centers of their brain, he found that they couldn't decide certain things. So before I share this next thing, I want to check what you think on this. So remember, we think just logic. If I'm just logic and I have no emotions, then my emotions aren't going to get in the way and I'm going to be like the smartest man on the ship. Completely false. Totally false. So with this study that Antonio Damasio did, where people, they're given a pen, they're given a sheet that they're going to go fill out, a questionnaire, and they've got a certain amount of time, whatever. So they're asked, you've got the choice between a blue and a black pen. Take your pick. How long do you think it took them to pick between a blue or a black pen? They got this whole questionnaire. First part of it is, okay, pick a pen, blue or black. How long do you think it took them to pick a blue or black pen? Okay, we're getting some in here. Got some saying 10 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 30 minutes. By far, we've got most in the 10 seconds. We got a couple at the 5 to 6 hours. Got a couple at 30 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. So how long? So again, there's a whole questionnaire. First part of it is, okay, you got your pick, take a blue or a black pen. Okay, so majority of people voted 10 seconds, 62% voted 10, it took 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a long time to pick a blue or black pen. Somebody hands me a questionnaire, I don't even know that I think about it. I just pick up one. Well, the answer to this is that it took people 5 to 6 hours. Yeah, Lisa. It took 5 to 6 hours for the participants of this study who had tumors on the emotional center of their brain. And they didn't even get to the questionnaire, just to pick a pen. So without emotions, we don't make decisions. And I'm curious, how many relate to this? Oh, Isabel, you missed the first part of the scenario. The first part of the scenario is people are being studied who have tumors on their brain, on the emotional center of their brain. And they're given a test. And at the start of the test, they say, okay, do you want a blue or a black pen? And it took them 5 to 6 hours to decide whether they were going to use a blue or a black pen. That's how important our emotional center is. Without it, we are not making, or it takes us a really long time to make a decision. But I want to check and see with everybody, how many of you have agonized over seemingly easy decisions? Something that just should be like, oh, I just, whatever. I'm shopping on Amazon for something and it's just like, I should just pick something, right? Yes, of course. Isabel says, right? So see how we can start to relate to this. Like, wait a minute. Here, I thought that my emotions get in the way, but if I'm suppressing my emotions and telling myself I shouldn't feel these things, then, oh my gosh, I can just agonize over something that seems like it should be pretty easy to decide. How many times do I really, if I'm honest, I really want something, but for whatever reason, I have fear about wanting it or something. So I try to convince myself of something else. And it's not satisfying. It takes a long ass time. Beverly was abandoned shopping carts of items because I couldn't decide if I really, oh no! You're that person. Between two outfits to go to school. Yeah, Isabel. I don't know. I don't know. I'm picking a movie on. Oh, geez. Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, Tyrone, totally. So the overall important thing here is that emotions are incredibly important for making decisions. You know, if we were Spock, we wouldn't even be on this webinar right now. So that's just how it is. So when we're suppressing our emotions, it degrades our memory. It literally, we have less memory recall. It drains our energy. You know, if I'm trying to suppress my emotions, I'm trying to suppress my life force, that's exhausting. It diminishes our cognitive resources when I'm suppressing my feelings. Yeah, I can't think as fast. I can't access stuff as fast. Memory recall is off. When I'm suppressing my emotions, it reduces productivity. Oh, Ashley, I love that. Isabel, there's probably a lot going on there. They probably could write a paper on that one. Yes, reducing productivity, you know, and we think about it, we actually wouldn't be rational at all if we didn't have feelings. Emotions are the foundation of thinking. I just thought about that, you know, like think about this. We're so out of whack with our emotions. If you look around our world, we do all kinds of stupid stuff. I think we're streaming. And so if we're doing that, I'm trying not to cuss. But like if we really think about it, right? We're like a bunch of people on a planet, and this kind of all starts to make sense. Where it's like, man, like we do a bunch of stupid stuff. So it might be helpful to be better in touch with our emotions and be able to use them in a way that has us do things that are more beneficial to everybody. Because they're the foundation of thinking. They tell us what to value. It's our saliency, like the quality of being able to notice what's important about things. Emotions are the thing that help us do that. They're required for learning and innovation. So I want to check in with everybody. Which of these costs of suppressing emotion strikes you the most? Which one is just like, But let's do a poll on this one. What strikes you the most? The cost of suppressing your emotions. What strikes you the most? Is it that it degrades your memory recall? Is it that it drains your energy? Is it that it diminishes the cognitive resources and performance overall? Is it that it reduces productivity? Or is it that it decreases rational thinking? I mean, they all strike me, but that one, that it actually decreases rational thinking, because I have been so trained to think that emotions are irrational, but it's like they're actually the fuel to even be able to have the thought in the first place. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing on that. So we've been taught the opposite, but let's see what it takes to learn this and to apply it. So I want to do an exercise with everybody now. Now that we're getting the costs of it, some of what it takes to be with our feelings. Now let's be with this. Well, let's do an exercise. I want everybody to remember the feelings that you had today. So think about the 5 feelings: fear, hurt, anger, sadness, and joy. And then I love that we have this here, because people are like, wait, there's so many other feelings. It's like, yeah, totally. There's a lot of feelings. But when we boil them down, we can get to these core 5 feelings. And it's helpful because they really kind of hit, and they're universal. You know, everybody feels fear, hurt, anger, sadness, joy. So as you're looking back on your day, I want everyone to think about, when did you feel afraid, anxious, stressed, or feel those butterflies in your stomach? What did you feel afraid about? What was going on? I felt afraid about leading this webinar. That was like from the moment I woke up, that was like, oh, okay, that's one of the things, like, okay, how is everything with that? And do I have everything I need? What was I feeling afraid, anxious about? Afraid of looking stupid, right, Kieran? Yeah. Afraid of making mistakes. Oh, yeah, Isabel. Anxious about upcoming business trip overseas. Totally, Sarah, right? Again, and isn't that cool? It's like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like, of course you feel anxious about that, right? Donna, nervous, totally. So what did I feel afraid about today? What was I feeling anxious about? What was there some premonition about? Oh, that you wouldn't have the answer. Yeah, I was afraid I wouldn't have the right answer. I wouldn't know. Lane. Oh, Lane, good to see you. Afraid of making the wrong decision. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Alicia, totally. So that one, I mean, that's quite, that's a shock. Like, oh my goodness. I'm afraid of being too old by the time I get to buy a house, right? Shanta? The feeling of starting yeah. Oh, totally. And getting into a relationship, and that's those butterflies. And that's kind of like the cool thing about fear too, is like there's ways that like I can start to see ways that I enjoy it. It's like a roller coaster. It's fun. Like I am afraid and I want to be afraid. I jumped in Lake Michigan today because I like cold water therapy, and I'm terrified. I'm going in, it's like, this is so cold, but there's also this excitement and joy about it. Yeah. I'm trying to stay safe while being bullied. Yeah. Afraid daughter will not to get to know family in Canada. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So great. I totally get that fear. Now let's check it out. Let's check out the hurt. What did you feel hurt about today? And Isabel, yeah, the language thing, my um niece and nephew, them being able to speak Arabic has been quite a journey. So it really is a challenge. Defiant student behaviors. Yeah, I'd be afraid of that. Yeah. So now stay with the fears and stuff too. That's fine. We're going to move into hurt. And so start shifting into that. And what did you feel hurt about today? When were your feelings hurt? Yeah, alone. Sharing my story is very hard, Elizabeth. Yeah. So there's hurt there. Being alone, I feel hurt. And actually, if you would jump back to the slide that has all the secondary, tertiary feelings to it, that'd be great. Hurt, so feeling emotional about something. It snowed. I guess had to cancel their visit. Yeah, that hurts, right? Like I wanted that to happen. Unhappy, upset about something. And I think about this like the hurt. My wife has been out of town, and like I feel hurt. I want her here. I miss her. Like so it's just me missing somebody. That's me being in touch with my hurt. How were you hurt today? Wish there had been more guests. Oh, yeah. For the podcast, Tyrone. Good, yes. And I mean, it's so funny. It's like I'm like celebrating that you felt hurt, but yes, because like, wow, okay, you were hurt that there weren't more guests, and That's good to know. It means that you care. Hurt when my husband didn't answer. Oh, yeah. That you didn't get time with your boss that you asked for, right? Oh, good, good, good. I'm so excited about this because for me, I mean, as a guy, like I didn't hurt's been quite a journey for me. So I'm just so pleased that lots of people can relate and are in touch with feeling hurt. It's so counterintuitive because we're trained not to think this way, but it's great. Yeah. Okay. And now we want to check out anger. What were the ways that you felt angry today? When were you annoyed, ticked off, frustrated, irritated, even rageful? We got to some of these earlier, or resentful. How did I feel angry today? I felt angry about I felt angry in traffic. I know it's going to be there. I was angry anyway. Pointless meetings, right? Oh, Zara, you could break down here. This is going to be a game for you to take on. Is in the meetings, can you identify finer and finer increments of what you felt angry about in the meetings? Totally. You've got the overarching thing, and then see if you can even find more detail in there on that. Anybody else feel angry today? Customer service with credit card. Yeah, totally. I could see how I would feel angry on that. Angry, I'm just angry about stuff in the world. Angry, our downstairs neighbors freaking smoke inside. I'm so angry at them. And like angry at the building management and like, come on, make something happen there. Brother not being accountable. Totally, totally. Son didn't come out of his school and we were getting, yeah, right? Hey, Savita, good to see you. Totally. There's all these angers, angry when students are disrespectful in the way they speak rudely to teachers. Yeah. Angry when people don't read emails before class and have to turn people out. Yeah. Angry at the cabbie who is being talkative and chatty and totally considered ended up charging me more by the time the ride was over. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Dealing with different isms and as an immigrant. Totally, Misa. Right? I mean, just how many times a day are you feeling afraid and then hurt and then angry about it, about the ways that of being treated? Okay, cool. Well, so I love that we're getting into these. We're finding how the ways that we've been feeling fear, hurt, anger today. Now, sadness. Let's check out sadness. I agree that commercials last longer than the show. Ow. Yeah, I would not watch that, Sandra. My anger would have me stop. Sadness. What disappointed, heavy, blah, blue, having grief, sorrow, gloomy. What was I sad about today? Oh man. I feel, it's like as soon as I open this one up, it's like sometimes the fear, I have fear about sadness because it's like I feel, if I'm really honest, I feel sad about a lot of stuff. There's a lot of sad, there's regrets I have. I miss people. I'm sad that I don't see as many people as I want to, as still kind of rebounding or whatever from pandemic. I bruised my rib. I couldn't play basketball for a while. I'm sad about that. I'm like scared. Am I going to be able to get back in? Oh, wow. Oh, Yeah, Ashley, thank you for sharing. I'm so sorry. At an activity, it's sad that anybody showed up. Hardly anybody have a cold and could not be as active. Totally, Isabel. Yeah, because your daughter. Oh, good. I'm just catching some of these. Yeah, you miss your daughter. See, and it's like, oh, and of course you do. Of course you feel sad, Anna. And then now that we've been going through these feelings, what about the joy? How have you been happy today? Amused, delighted, thrilled, pumped up? Just reading pumped up, I feel joy. I love that somebody put that in the slide. I'm pumped up. Oh, Anna, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And it's funny, like I actually seeing you and seeing the connection and the connection through the sadness, like that brings me joy. Not a pumped up kind of joy, but it actually brings me this joy of like, wow, like people are connecting. That makes me happy. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to be here with all of you. I feel joy about what we're doing. I think this is really important stuff. I feel joyful about that. Oh, cool. You're going to visit your little brother. First time in 6 years. Yep. Sharing jokes with teammates, right? It is energizing. I know. My assistant and I watched like a little funny clip on YouTube. I was like, oh, this is good. All your friends' dogs. I know dogs are so cute. Oh, and then it's so cute how their owners like them so much, and the whole thing with yeah, that does make me happy. Yeah, Alicia, I feel joy about that. That all these emotions are in one day. What a rich, full day. Surprise card in the mail. Cool. Mom's 75th birthday with and had a great conversation with your boss on these 5 emotions, Savita. Woo! I feel like fear and joy reading that. Oh, I want to hear more sometime. Oh, that your daughter gives you a hug when back from school a few minutes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That joy. Amused today. I have a team member who takes a lot of my time, work from home, then work out of the office today. I accomplished so much work without her. Oh, Mariah. Happy to meet colleagues, great conversations, cat jumping into lap. Yeah. Yes. Oh, okay. Sweet. Well, thank you. Thank you for engaging in this. So I think there was a poll there, but I think we're gonna skip that because we spent a good chunk of being with our feelings there. And I think we're in it. I feel joy and I'm secure that y'all are getting this content and applying it to yourselves and aware of your feelings in your body. And so that's great. So I want us to let's do it. Let's do a breakout room. Why not? Let's do a breakout room. What we're going to do is each of you, you're going to go into groups of mostly threes. There might be a couple of just two people. And you're just going to go into that breakout room. And I want you to just share what messages you got with each other. Talk about the messages about your feelings. What messages did you get about your feelings growing up? What kinds of things? So we're just going to do a quick breakout. Jay, is that cool? Are we game to do that?
All good.
Yes. You rock, Jay. Thank you. So it's gonna be real fast. Like each person's gonna share for 30 seconds about what messages you received, what negative messages you received about feelings. So each person's going to get 30 seconds, then we're going to come back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, cool. Oh, I can see some of your faces. Good to see you all. So I want us to stay with that feeling space that we've created, where we've been reviewing our day. And as we're going into this next thing, to share about this. So share in the chat. Share what some of the messages were, be with the anger, the hurt, maybe some of the sense of humor. And I don't know if it's joy about it, but sometimes the sense of humor is good to have. So what are some of the things, keep it together, some of these negative messages about emotions? And share in the chat, what were some of those? Oh, don't be like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Basically, don't be who you are. Keep it together. Go to your room. Big girls or big boys don't cry. Go with the flow or put others' needs first, right? Like, what's wrong? Or don't you think of anybody else? Chill. Oh my God, Caitlin, I just want to kill. You tell me to chill when I'm feeling angry. It's like, oh yeah, that's going to have me chill out, right? Oh, the silent treatment. Ouch. Stupid crybaby. Oh, yeah. Stupid. It's like, oh yeah, you're stupid for having feelings. Not really valued. News was, yeah. Big girls don't cry. And this one, I mean, I am feeling particularly kind of vulnerable about this one, given that, just I'm a guy, but it's like people will tell me like, don't be such a girl. It's like, geez. I mean, there's like several ways of insulting, as if there's something wrong with being a girl. And somebody I was doing a lunch and learn on this topic the other week, and a woman asked, like, do you think women are more in touch with their feelings than men? I was like, I'm not going to say a whole lot about that, but I kind of think so. And it's actually, I think there's a real value in feelings and feminine leadership that we get into here at Right. And there's women's programs that we offer. I don't know a whole lot about them. I've not been on them, but I think it's really cool because I think that this importance of emotions in our world. It really is a feminine leadership. I think it really is highlighting that. And so I think that one negative message about don't be such a girl. It's like, no, actually should be like a girl, should be more in touch with my feelings. Let's do that. If that's the case, then it's a good thing. Oh, angry and loud ladies are not nice. Oh yeah, I guess not. Yeah, there's so many different, unprofessional, hysterical. You've got anger issues. Totally. Scaredy cat, crybaby. So, and the problem isn't our emotions. So we get all these messages about them, and the emotions themselves are not the problem, but it's our lack of skill with emotions. It's the fact that we haven't learned how to use them well. So we become frozen, numb, they build up, and we don't really know how to discharge our emotions effectively. That's the real problem. And I think about this in my life, in my relationship. A big problem with me is my anger. And because I'm told like I'm not supposed to feel angry, and just think about it, coming from a conservative Christian background where it's Mennonites. I don't know if you know anything about Mennonites, but like we're super pacifists. We don't go to war. So it's just having anger is not a good thing. It doesn't work so well in a romantic relationship. There would be things that would happen, and my wife she would end up carrying the anger about things and being like, dude, you should be freaking angry about this. And so it was like, it's been a real journey for me to actually get in touch with the hurt and the anger, and then to express that anger. And this is a real big one. She pointed out to me sometimes. She's like, in my family, people often take shots at me. And like, I need you to stand up for me. And this is like, I was not trained in this. Nobody in my family was like, oh, this is part of, being a man or being in a relationship or whatever, is to have somebody's back this way. And I still remember this one time where I'm doing this work. This was several years in some of our programs where I learned to access my anger. And we're driving, and her dad says something to her that was totally out of line. And I was like falling asleep. And I just came out of nowhere and was like, you do not talk to her like that, or you're gonna have to deal with me. And it was this moment where like everybody in the car was like, wait, who just said that? Like, whoa, I surprised myself, surprised him. He totally got in line. And it's the coolest thing because I got to see like, that's totally appropriate anger. That's a good use. It was actually honoring him and calling him to a higher vision for a relationship. Totally appropriate. And that, and I'm saying that story in part because that is so not where I come from. That is just so out of my training. So I actually can learn to use my emotions effectively. It's a really big deal. And so that the point of this is that by people telling me not to feel what I'm feeling, it essentially had me be a lot, in a lot of ways I was depressed and shit, and not be effective with them. And then when I'm in my relationship, like, I don't understand why my wife's upset that I don't have her back. Then we get into this fight, and then I'm yelling at her about this stuff. Just a total freaking mess. So I think you can like kind of vision it when in your relationship, how not being in touch with our feelings, your feelings, can really like lead to just some drama that does not need to happen if I learn to integrate my feelings and really use them well. So I don't know. I'd love to chat and see if you, oh, good, you're already chatting. So yes, husband Quaker, how do you relate to this? What are some ways that you relate to, if you can look back at a fight or something where you're like, man, if I was like more in touch with how afraid I actually felt then and communicated that, that's been a big one for my wife, saying, hey, I'm afraid about this. And it's really vulnerable for me to even let you know I feel afraid about this. But when that's happened, it's like, oh my gosh, I totally get it. I understand why you'd be afraid. Great. I don't want you to be afraid. I'm going to have your back. I'm going to be on that. So, learning to communicate our feelings responsibly with people. Any ways that you relate to this? Feel hormones are just helping bring up emotions. And oh, yeah, cool, Isabel. I just haven't looked at the chat for a while. Oh, cool. I'm catching up with all of you. Okay. Yeah. 1,000,000%. Just ended a relationship because my partner never learned how to communicate and digest his feelings, right? It's kind of like I could have a relationship with a chair. A lot of trouble expressing anger, especially at work. Yeah. Yes. Oh, and Lisa, I'm so glad that you're taking the courses on how to integrate your anger, because it really is a journey. And I'm looking forward to seeing how you do that. Okay, cool. So we're gonna keep moving on because it tended to get defensive when I'm scared. Oh, totally. When being more open would get me more support. Totally. I relate to that one so much, like as if there's something wrong with me feeling afraid. Yeah. And so I have to try to hide that from others. Otherwise, it's going to be used against me, instead of saying, wait a minute, I'm afraid. What's this fear telling me about the help I need, and communicating that to people? That's a really big one. Thanks for sharing that, Caitlin. Yeah, spell shield up. There's times for shield up, but a lot of times uh, learning how to have it down and be open to people's help. That's a big one I find in pretty much every person I coach at some point. It just says how much they suck at taking in compliments. And it's like, there's a vulnerability in receiving a compliment, like, and so something about that just made me think of that. Like, I need to learn how to be open and vulnerable in order to really take in things from other people. So this next part of our curriculum here is the in, out, up, down model. And I love this thing because it honors all of the feelings. It helps us sort out a lot of what we've been talking about, because we have this, there's totally times I don't want to full out rage on somebody where that's not going to be helpful. But how do I do this? So this helps us integrate our feelings and how to use them in an effective way in our lives. So first we have in. This is a lot of what we've been with tonight, especially around reviewing our day and the feelings, is being in touch with what's going on inside of me and others. Being in touch with this, it's this internal experience, being able to have this depth of experience in me. So that's a way to be with emotions, developing the skill of really taking things in. And then the next one is out, working on expressing them freely, being more of an extrovert with our feelings sometimes. This can be really great in leadership. I think about my one client who in tech and, in a space where you don't express feelings. It's all very, very logical. And after a meeting that did not go well with a client, and he just sat down, he was taking some trainings with us, and he put his hand on the table and just said, "I'm angry." He expressed outward the anger from that meeting, and his team lit up and was like, "You know what? That wasn't okay. Our client didn't communicate with us and they put us in a bad situation. I'm angry too." And all he did, he just said, "I'm angry." And he sat back and watched his team come up with creative solutions and take ownership, and way faster than him delegating all that stuff. And I was like, wow, how cool is that he learned how to express his anger outward in a way that really helped his leadership. So then another thing that we want to do is learning how to upregulate, intensifying my experience, increasing the expression of joy, increasing the ability to act and respond quickly to stuff. That's another way to use our emotions. This is great. I mean, like when things are going well, like anytime I get a new client, one of my things is I'll always call and make another dial, because it's like, oh, good, I'm on the up. I want to flip on the up. I want to use this momentum and take advantage of it while it's here. And it's even the ability to be with fear, because it's like, oh, like keep things going well, fine, good, good, good. So that's a skill, a way to use our emotions to be able to upregulate. And we also need to be able to downregulate. There's times to downregulate. There's times where that upward energy, that kind of spastic stuff, isn't helpful at all. It just makes things worse. And it's like, oh, I need to get this met. I need to get this met. And like, nobody's helping. Nobody's doing anything. Well, if I can learn the skill to say, okay, let's soothe myself. I'm not getting my needs met here in this meeting or in this situation. Okay. And me going for it is not working. So I recognize that I do need support, but I'm going to downregulate right now. And I'm going to go somewhere where I can actually get what I need. I'm going to go to a relationship that actually is nourishing. I'm going to go call that friend that I know really gets me. I'm going to downregulate. I'm going to be able to soothe myself right now. So these are this model is a way for us to be with each of the emotions. So, as we've been with this more, I want to check in with everybody and just chat into the chat there. What are the benefits of emotional intelligence? As we've been kind of stirring with this, what are you seeing for yourself? What are the benefits of emotional intelligence in career and in leadership? Go ahead and type into the chat. What are some of the benefits? Better decision making, better rapport, better influence. I want, some specifics, a way to notice being more responsive to the needs of others. Totally. Better out than in. Oh yeah. Yeah. Than suffering internally. Totally, Karen. When I'm better able to recognize my emotions, I will. Yes. Yes. Totally, Sarah. Better able to understand the emotions of others. If I'm not okay with recognizing my fear, like the client I was telling you about earlier, she criticized herself for feeling afraid in meetings. She's with some high-powered executives. It makes sense she'd feel afraid. Why not? But when she's criticizing herself for it, she wasn't effective with it. And she couldn't read the emotions of others. Once she started doing that, oh my gosh, she's got this superpower. She can feel, somebody left out and their hurt feelings from across the room. That's amazing. If I am out of touch with my own hurt, then I'm not going to be able to tell when somebody else is hurt. I love that you put that in there. Trusting, yes, Mandy, trusting myself, totally. Being like, no, I am angry about this, and I know I am. Or yes, I'm hurt, or I'm afraid about this. It really does matter to me. Down regulating in stressful situations, more influence, being able to take advantage of emotions to better express who I am in each moment. Yes, Anna, I love that for you. Recognizing my emotions vibrate and attract like emotions in others. Whoa. Yeah. 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 Because like if I'm not expressing myself, then like the world doesn't know and people aren't going to be attracted to me. Emotions are attractive. Totally attractive. People get a sense of me. I love that you put that. Yes, Zandra, totally. If you're not being you in the world, then like nobody sees you and people aren't going to like gravitate towards you. More in tune with what others can feel in the same situation, relate, empathize. Yes, absolutely. Setting the right examples. Yes, leading with our emotional intelligence. Yeah, law of attraction. Right. Oh my gosh, I love that. There's all this stuff that, there's the law of attraction stuff about if I just think about what I want, I can manifest it. It's like, well, it's really not that simple. If I can be what I want, then I'll be attracting that. Then I'll be not only attracting, but creating that. I love that. Okay, so let's look at some examples here. We've got, you're going to get promoted. This is the case of as you develop emotional intelligence, you get promoted, you're more likely to make money. You make more money with it because you build better relationships. You build deeper, better relationships. You increase profit at a company. That's often why you'll earn more money in a company. There's decreased turnover. Think about that. There's so many people leaving jobs. A lot people leave jobs because of management, because there's not high level of rapport, because people feel hurt and don't know how to express it and nobody knows how to help them. And yes, so multinational consulting firm and find that there's 139%. Yeah, go ahead and move the slide forward. Yes, in profit. I mean, that's huge. That you get that from emotional intelligence, from you being in touch with your feelings. You're more able to respond. You're responsible. Decreased turnover, etc. Hospitality increase in the hospitality market. Oh, dang! I didn't see that on the notes. 85% less executive turnover. Okay, thank you. In hospitality, 24% increase in market share. I mean, you can see it makes sense. Hospitality, able to host people, able to be with people. Totally. It has you be in better groups, have better networks, better support groups. Emotional intelligence has us get stuff done faster. We can get more done. I think you can probably see how this would relate to sales. It helps you close more deals because people trust you. They actually trust you. You know, sometimes I will go with somebody who maybe their service costs a little more, but if I really like them and I've had a relationship with them and like, I trust them, I think they're a good person and they're like able to communicate that to me and I feel felt by them, fine, I'll do that. I'm going to go with that security, that ability in of somebody to really have me felt understood. So you close more deals, sell 30% more in sales. That's a study from MetLife. And in leadership, and find that in top leadership positions, over 4/5 of the difference is emotional competence. Yeah, making positive changes with positive people, being able to feel validated and validate. So that's a big deal. It's to be able to develop the collective goals and objectives of people. I mean, that you can see how you have to have emotional intelligence to do that. So it instills others' appreciation and the importance of work activities. It builds enthusiasm, confidence, optimism, cooperation, and trust. You can totally see how emotional intelligence does that. It brings people together. And little note here, the most requested article from the Harvard Business Review was Daniel Goleman's 1999 Emotional Intelligence. So this is when, for CEOs, for leadership positions, businesses are looking at that. It's most requested because it's not a luxury. It's not about yes, of course we want to have a good life. Of course we want that. But when it comes down to it, it's a necessity. To really be effective, emotional intelligence is a necessity. So let's check this out. What are the benefits of emotions that you most want? What are the benefits here that you most want in your life? Because remember, we're tying this back to the beginning when I asked you what you wanted from tonight. Why are you here? So which of these do you want the most? What benefits? More career success, better support networks, increased productivity, to be a better leader, better rapport and connection in your relationships. Yeah. To deal with stress better. Totally. Right? I don't have to beat myself up about having feelings now. So people say I'm so stressed out. It's like, hey, I'm probably having feelings. And if you're cool with having feelings, then you don't have to double down on stress. You can be cool with yourself having feelings. Yeah, you have anxiety because you're alive. Okay, cool. Stronger immune system, to live longer. Totally. I think that's so cool. Like simply by being more in touch with my emotions, I live longer. So, okay. We've got the winner on this one is to deal with stress better, with a close second of to be a better leader, and also better rapport and connection in my relationships, and better support networks. Okay, actually, so there was like tied for second place was 3 of them. So better rapport and connection in my relationships, better support networks, to be a better leader, and to deal with stress better. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So we have practiced identifying emotions and we've been in this journey. So I really thank you for that. I do want to offer the gift that I had mentioned earlier about a way to take this on further. And so I want to invite everybody, we're going to do a raffle here. And if this is something that is a good fit for you, you're feeling this. There's a few more things. There's one thing I want to leave everybody with at the end. I told you I was going to give you an assignment to take into your evening and into your life. But I want to offer this gift. It's the More Life training. But what I want you to do is to go to the raffle form. So let's put that into the chat. Thank you. Thanks, Ashley. Oh, yeah, Shanta, I do love that self-awareness point. And fill out in the raffle, fill out in there. That's going to set you up to be picked as a winner. So we're going to pick somebody tonight. We're going to pick a raffle winner just for entering in the information. And a couple of the free gifts. Now, just for entering, you get the free gift of attending a More Life training. If you haven't attended the More Life training, that's definitely something you want to check out. So just by entering into the raffle, that makes you eligible to waive the attendance fee for that. And then you're also entering into a raffle to win a bundle of books and to win a coaching session. So make sure that you're filling out in there what you're interested in, because our next training is January 6th through the 8th. If that doesn't work, we do it 4 times a year. So check the box if you're interested, but that date doesn't work for you. And we'll make sure that you get in at no cost. And if you know of any friends, coworkers, any teammates, anything like that, that you think are interested, check the box in that raffle form as well. All you need to do is complete the form at the link, and we will hold a spot for the date that you choose. If January 6th through 8th doesn't work, there's other ones. Oh, that's there's kind of that new year momentum at that time. And if you need more time to check your schedules, that's cool. Well, you can take a look at that while we're wrapping up. You can indicate that you want to check, and somebody from our team will get back with you. So we're going to pick a raffle winner tonight. Again, our raffle winner is going to win a bundle of books and a free coaching session valued at $225. Okay. So if you're still wrapping up there, good stuff. And I'm just checking with my team to see if we're getting raffle forms submitted and who we're picking. Oh, and also while you're in there, if you are interested, I did mention that we have an accredited graduate university. It is the coolest school on the planet, in my opinion. Not biased at all, but I actually do think it is. I went back to school to finish my BA just so I could go to the right graduate university, because you dig in deep on the research, and there's all kinds of ways that you apply it. So it's really cool. So anyway, if you have any interest in a master's degree or any coaching or certificates, even if it's not something that you're thinking about in the year or whatever, but you're just like, you know what, that might be something I do at some point, go ahead and mark on the raffle form that you're interested in that. We will reach out to you about it, and we do have evening events sometimes that are focused on that. So take a look at that, and it looks like, okay, the other thing I want to name is that when you sign up for the More Life training, you get a free book. So at any point, if you sign up for any of the ones throughout the year, we want to keep you engaged. So we send you a book that's kind of the curriculum for the training and helps you prepare for it. Okay, so that's the last tip. When you're signing up, you do get a free book as well. Okay, we've got, oh yes, Lisa, totally, go WGU. You're welcome, Elizabeth. So we did pick a winner, and our winner is Isabel. Isabel, congratulations. Woo woo. Congratulations.
I never win anything. This is weird. Sorry, I have no voice, but thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, congratulations. And thanks for coming off mute, even without a voice, or almost without a voice. Well, great. So we'll be in touch with you about how to collect your book bundle and the coaching session that we mentioned. So, awesome. So in our send-off, what I want to do, I told you I was going to leave you with one thing to take into your evening and into the rest of the life. And we got experience with this tonight. As we were doing the exercise where we were looking at all the emotions and reviewing your day. And so what I want you to be with right now is thinking back to that time and being present with any of the feelings that you have. So there's the fear, hurt, anger, sadness, and joy. And this really cool neuroscience on this is that we found that when you name your feeling, acknowledge your feeling, it actually tames it and helps you integrate it. So you can say it out loud during the day, or you can, another thing that people do is they'll write out on a little piece of paper, fear, hurt, anger, sadness, joy. And they'll make little tick marks next to the feelings as they notice them throughout the day. Because what that's doing is if we look at all of the negative messaging that we've been told about emotions, that we're not supposed to feel these things, we've spent a lot of our lives pretending like we don't have them and finding ways to suppress them. So this assignment, it's a simple assignment. I won't say it's easy, but it is straightforward. But just think about that. So just by naming my emotions, by acknowledging my own emotions, fear, hurt, anger, sadness, joy, I'm actually affirming myself in a beautiful way. And it helps me integrate that feeling. Again, saying it silently to myself. If I'm in a meeting, I might not say hurt, but just developing the ability to say, whoa, that really hurt when they said that. That's actually affirming to me. And so that's your assignment that I want you to take forward, is to be naming your emotions, fear, hurt, anger, sadness, joy. Naming joy, acknowledging joy, so that I'm deepening those neural pathways. And we play when one of my friends, there's all kinds of ways to kind of deepen things. If I just have the thought about my feeling, those neural pathways are connecting. If I say it out loud, then I'm hearing my voice say the feeling, and that's affirming. I'm feeling the vibration. So it's useful to say, oh, whoa, I hurt. So there's extra benefit when I name it. Or if I'm not going to be naming it, just putting my hand on my heart, acknowledging that I feel something, that I feel hurt. So there's lots of little tricks that you can do to acknowledge and soothe and integrate your feelings. Even acknowledging the anger, like I might tighten my fist more. I don't have to always express it, but just acknowledging that. Elizabeth, you write yours. Cool. Yeah. Because then you're activating that your muscles and your brain in acknowledging your own feelings. So that's the assignment I want to leave everybody with. So you're going into your evenings, maybe going to bed soon, to be present with your feelings, naming them. And I want to thank everybody so much as you're going off into your evenings, off into your weekends. I really appreciated being with all of you tonight. Loved your engagement. I think a beautiful way to spend some time honoring our feelings, learning more about how to be effective leaders, how to do things that we care about in the world. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Tyra. It was great having you here. Thanks, Elizabeth. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Mandy, Isabel. Congrats again. Thanks for joining in. Anna, great seeing you. Take care, everybody. Good night. Oh yeah, there's my social media thing. If you like social media, I post occasionally. Feel free to follow me on there. All right, everybody, take care. Misa,